Hi, welcome everyone. So excited to have you all with us here today with me. I guess I'm the only one here today. Um, Excited to connect, talk about resilience and this reset for menopausal, or anyone who's in the realm of transition in life women. My name is Christy Kennedy. I'm the COO of Dovetail Learning, and I'm excited to go through this with you. Oh, little housekeeping. I always forget this part. Go ahead and use the Q&A feature if you have questions along the way. If I look over here, it's because I got another screen. I'm looking at questions that could possibly come through. Always happy to answer. And then if you have questions afterwards, please reach out, email me. We're happy to connect. So at Dovetail Learning, our mission is strengthening resilience in adults and children and really creating a world of kind, connected human beings, one that we really lean into at this point in time. We really feel like that would make a huge difference the more people we are connected to in a kind way. And we really believe that we can help those discover how to be the best possible versions of ourselves. And I like to start with this because it's my best possible version of me is different day to day. And it's definitely different than each of you. You have your own best possible version of yourself. And that's what our skills and our approach is really, truly about. So, a little bit about me. My name's Christy, as I said. My family there in the middle. My kids are about to be a junior in college. That's my oldest right there in the middle. He is starting his junior year, and my youngest on the my left, your right. I don't know how it flips, but possibly um, is going to be a senior in high school. So we're in the thick of it when it comes to like helping him figure out his next steps. And then my supportive and wonderful partner in life, Rio, my husband. We're also navigating a country in this image where we didn't speak the language. So it was definitely took all of our resilient skills to have a wonderful trip together, but then also navigate all those ups and downs. I'm also a proud dog mom of my half pug, half poodle. That's that bearded fellow with the big teeth sticking out, and our boxer on the beach. I like to start with that because we're whole people. It doesn't matter if I show up to work or I walk into book club or to a cafe. All of these components are little pieces and facets of me, just like you have little pieces and facets of you. And I think it's important that we honor all of the pieces of us. Um, I'm also a co-author of the We Are Resilient approach, and I absolutely love what we get to do, helping people tap into their inner strengths. It's a pretty magical, amazing occupation that I have gotten to participate in. I also like to start with this image before I do any kind of webinar training or anything. And it's just this concept that moving from awareness or unconscious incompetence to mastery or unconscious competence is a process. Every time we're learning new things on how we want to shift or be or what we want to show up as our best selves in the world takes practice, practice, practice. And the more we practice, the better we can model and then we can coach. And I just feel like thinking about these steps helps me put my growth and my experience in a space of lacking judgment. I can let myself have a couple oops or ouches right along the way because I'm learning and I'm growing and it's a process. So our path today, we're going to do a little welcoming and grounding. We'll talk a little bit about resilience, very smidge, a little bit. Really, we're going to dive into the reality that perimenopause and menopause, it's a lot. It's a lot of transition. People submitted some pretty amazing snippets into their life I'm excited to share with you. And then we'll be shifting the story using positive reframing, and then we'll have our gentle or grateful goodbyes or closing. So I appreciate each and every one of you being here today. Let's go ahead and shift into a moment of grounding. So again, before we dive in, I really want to invite you to take just a moment. This is your moment just for yourself. Let this be a pause in your day, a shift in your energy, not because something is wrong, but because you truly deserve a little bit of space to just be for a moment. I know I deserve and need a moment to just be, and I want to welcome you into this space. If it feels comfortable, you might Gently close your eyes, soften your gaze. This is a huge one that I have to remember. Let our shoulders drop, unclench your jaw. Every time someone says that, I go, oh, I'm clenching my jaw. I need to not do that. And just notice. Notice your body. Notice how it's holding you. Notice your breath. No need to change it. Just meet it as it is. Just breathe in and breathe out. This noticing isn't about fixing anything. It's about giving you permission to land, to just stop and be present here, to breathe and to notice. Just be present with yourself just as you are. Now, I invite you to take one slow, deep breath in and out. And just let it go. Settle in. You're here. That's enough. I welcome you here and thank you for being with us. I'm very excited to talk about our topics today. Let us transition into resilience and what it is. So, we like to ask people what resilience is to them because it has a lot of different definitions, and at Dovetail Learning, for us, resilience is the awareness, mindsets, and skills to create the best version of ourselves in that moment. And that is a varying concept of best, in my opinion. And to contribute to our family, our workplace, our community, the world, can contribute to ourselves. I was realizing this as I was editing. I want to add and ourselves to this list, the best that we can. It also is the ability to adapt and respond and meet changes effectively, what most people define resilience as, that grit or that concept. But it also can be higher or lower in different situations, and that it can be strengthened. That's the important part. It's like a muscle memory that we have, and it can be strengthened through the practice of skills. And it just takes that practice. You have to prepare for the big event when you know you have a game coming. I was a theater kid. You did a lot of rehearsals before jumping into the actual big show. And so, just like with that in our life, we have to practice our skills so we are ready for the events that we don't always see coming. And at Dovetail Learning, we expanded the concept of resilience to 5 unique types. Reactive resilience, which is how we react to the world when we're feeling unsafe or vulnerable. Personal resilience, we'll be hovering there today as we talk about how to navigate so many transitions at this stage of life. Relational resilience, how we are with others individually and together. It can be higher or lower, just like any other types of resilience. I like to use the example of my best friend that she could tell me this is the ugliest sweater she's ever seen, and I would say thank you. Um, Maybe a colleague of mine that we're not so close could say the same thing with the same intent, and I would not say thank you. So it just really is one of those pieces that can be acknowledged at higher or lower. And the same with group resilience, and then our call to resilience, how we view the world, all the pieces that make us up. But today we're just going to be talking a little bit about personal resilience and really about where we're at in this transition of life. I'm assuming most people who signed up for this webinar did so because they are in a stage of life like I am. Um, it's a lot. I'm holding so much, and that's what inspired me to actually write this content. Um, I know for me, it's not just all the physical transitions that I'm have going on, but it's all the invisible things that I'm holding as well. It's knowing when my pet meds, flea meds are due. It's tracking the dentist appointments for everyone in my family, including my oldest son who's already moved out, but I'm the one who texts him when it's time. It's making sure that his tuition is paid on time and while not having access to the actual account because it's through him and he's 20 and I don't have access anymore. Helping my younger son with his college application prep. It's taxes. Just I'm in my head, I'm counting down and I know what days things are due and when. Remembering my in-laws' birthdays, oh, and this is the one that threw me by surprise as I've gotten older, planning meals. Oh my goodness, I have to plan every single meal. forever, apparently. It's just definitely been overwhelming me. And it's so much more than what people see on the surface. We are all holding so much, emotionally, mentally, logistically. It's so much more than this hormonal phase. It's a whole person experience. And that's why I feel like we needed a place to pause and to reflect and reset. And I invite you to think about, what are the invisible loads that you're carrying right now? What are all the different puzzle pieces that you know that you have, that's holding, you're holding all the pieces too. And I just think it's important to acknowledge, because when we acknowledge it, then we can actually be in relationship with it, and it feels ever so slightly um, less overwhelming. And perimenopause and menopause brings on so much more. It's the mood swings, the brain fog, the disrupted sleep, irritability. It can feel like we're no longer playing by the same rules. And for many of us, like it just feels almost like, oh, I threw away the instruction manual for who the heck I am. And all of a sudden, my body is shifting in ways and things aren't happening the same way. And sometimes even we're asking for help and people aren't hearing us. And it is very frustrating. I have to sit with a moment of gratitude that there is a conversation happening now about these transitions in our lives, at least at a healthcare level. That's very helpful. And how can we shift our focus during these transitions to experience it in different ways? And I love this quote from Jane Fonda. I'll be sending around our slide deck as well after this, for everyone who's registered, that menopause is a time in a woman's life when she can truly come into her own. What an awesome positive reframe. And we'll be talking positive reframe a little bit later. It also can feel like a roller coaster. The waves of anxiety, unexpected irritability, sudden bursts of sadness. I've never cried more than I am now. I get weepy, and it's not like my natural prior state. Um, it's just a lot. It really is. And that's why today is not about fixing anything. It's not about, or it is about honoring what's real, learning how to meet it with compassion, self-empathy. We're going to start by doing that, what sounds simple. It's actually pretty difficult, because we're going to be giving ourselves that compassion and grace during this difficult time. So before today's webinar, I emailed everyone who registered, to anonymously submit some experiences that they've been having. And thank you so much for everyone who responded. I had quite a few. I was pretty surprised, because not everyone fills out anonymous little questionnaires, but I did get quite a few, and I wanted to read some of them to you, because it just really normalizes and humanizes our experience. And I felt so connected to so many of these. So, how is life shifting for you during this season of life, was the question that I asked. And here's a couple or a few of the responses. That I've stopped pretending I have it all together. And weirdly, that feels like progress. That resonated with me personally. Everything feels louder. My emotions, my needs, my sense that time is moving faster. I'm learning to say no without guilt, and that's a brand new muscle. Same, exercising it on a regular basis, and I appreciate someone else is experiencing it too. And that my career is stable, but I'm not sure it's still aligned with who I'm becoming. I pulled some of these because I think it's so important for us to recognize that we are all in a very similar storm, but it's a very different experience each and individually. But everyone is experiencing this. Everyone is having some sense of transition, change, new realities. And I just think it's important, as we go through these transitions, that we come together and we acknowledge that. I also just want to say thank you for those who did submit it, because your vulnerability in these responses, it's super powerful. And it just really reinforces that we're not alone. We're not alone in this. And today is about acknowledging the truth of what you're carrying, and to offer a tool, a skill on maybe a way of reflecting and processing and moving through it. And when we talk about resilience at Dovetail, it's easy to think of it as pushing through or staying strong no matter what. But in the We Are Resilient approach, we see it differently. That resilience isn't about being tough at all times. It's actually a both and mindset. That means We can hold multiple truths at once. I can feel overwhelmed and still find a moment of calm. I can be grieving who I used to be and still be curious about who I'm becoming. I can love my family deeply and need some space. I can feel strong and still fall apart sometimes. All of these both ands are true. And when we lean into that duality of life, it helps us stop choosing between extremes and make space for the complexity, especially during this time. We have so many changes happening at every level, physical level, hormonal level, mental level, emotional, spiritual. There's so many things for so many people at this transition of life that holding the both and gives us the ability to lean into our true authenticity. So this stage of life reinforces that we can't hold things in black and white, and that the both and mindset really gives us room to be complicated and be whole. So I want you to know that I acknowledge everything you're holding in all aspects, and it is complicated. At least that's how it feels for me. It feels complicated at times. So when we lean into that, what can we do? What can we lean on? So we're going to focus on just one of the six centering skills for personal resilience and supports us that you can lean on during this time. And funny enough, this is one of the skills that I'm going to talk about that's the hardest for me. And when I actually can access it and lean on it, I find it to be one of the most powerful. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today in such a short time that we have together. So we're going to talk about positive reframing. And I want to call attention that when we started just a few minutes ago, this webinar together, I guess 10, 15 minutes ago, we practiced the first two centering skills. We took a moment to transition into this space. We took a moment to notice what our body was feeling, what we were feeling, what our emotions were feeling. We took a moment to presence using our breath. So we were actually practicing noticing myself and breathing mindfully. And I wanted to bring that in because it's so easy to feel like doing the steps, doing the practice takes a lot. But just in a couple of minutes, we can shift our energy just a little bit by accessing these skills, even if it's when we're driving in our car or we park the car. This is one of my common ones. Park the car, turn everything off, pause before I walk into the house and be greeted by the family, right? So it's like a moment of transition. So I want to acknowledge that these don't have to be huge gestures, huge practices. It's not driving all the way to the gym to get there to do the 45 minutes of X before we do the lifting of the weights. Just started doing that. Perimenopausal women, everyone lifting weights, counting protein and creatine and all the things that are on the socials. So it doesn't have to be so grand when we're practicing our centering skills. We can take, even if it's just a few moments for ourselves. And today we're going to talk about positive reframing as an act of our resilience. So when we talk about positive reframing, we're not talking about pretending everything is fine. We're putting on a happy face. I personally grew up in a house where we're fine. Everything's fine. Nothing was talked about. That's not what this is. We're talking about making space for multiple truths. And it's a skill of pausing long enough to ask, is there another way to see this moment? Not erase what's hard, but really widening the lens and to find more compassion and space. That's it. That's all we're asking you to do. It's shifting from I have to hold it together to maybe I don't have to do it all alone. I'm very guilty of this. You can ask my teammates from falling from I'm falling failing at everything to I'm caring a lot. Maybe I can put something aside for now. So shifting from I have to get it done perfectly to maybe I can let go some of the things that I think is a should versus a could. So that's why I brought back this image that I used at the very beginning when we did our grounding together, our centering, that this is sunset on the beach. I snapped that photo just this weekend on a work trip with my team. It was the second day of a lot of back-to-back socializing. as I'm getting older or this transition of life, I have acknowledged that I need space between socializing. I need just a little bit more recharge than I used to have. And we were in back-to-back socializing, connecting, giving energy left and right. And I was really tired, like really, really, really tired. Um, Yet, when I saw the sunset, I paused for a moment and I thought, this is enough. I can rest here. I don't need to be on right now. So I took this picture. And it's a reminder to me that even in the hustle bustle, even in the crazy chaos, if I can shift for just a moment, okay, this pause is enough. I can shift my understanding of my reality. I'm holding too much, I'm moving too fast. If I can just find that little glimpse, this is enough. I don't need to be on right now. I can just be. It gives me the grace to actually recharge. And that is one of the gifts of positive reframing. It doesn't fix everything. It offers a doorway out of overwhelm and into a presence. It's a way to honor your what's real and gently shift our relationship with it. It can be both overwhelming and a moment of calm. So even when things are messy or uncertain or just plain exhausting, there's always a moment to pause. There's always a way to reframe. And that choice, that breath, that shift, that's resilience in action. That's us in the moment, having a breath. So this slide might feel very familiar if you've been to any of our other webinars, and even more so if we're talking a stress event and we maybe react in this stage of transition of life. I know I'm a bit more edgy than I used to be. We all know what it feels like, though, to lose our cool. Maybe it's snapping at someone over something small, shutting down emotionally, or moment you realize that you're yelling and you're even in the car by yourself. Here's what's actually happening. Stress event triggers us. We enter this rise of the curve of reaction, and our protective patterns kick in. These are our go-to survival strategies, like distrusting or avoiding or even defending. And during this stage of life, at least for myself, this reaction can feel amplified by a hormonal roller coaster that I'm riding on that I did not sign up for, but here I am. That can things can that felt manageable years ago are no longer feeling manageable, and at times are completely overwhelming. And this is again where that positive reframing can become a very powerful tool. Instead of thinking I'm a mess or I'm failing, we can reframe in the moment, even just slightly. My body's giving me signals that I'm at capacity. Oof. Instead, when I feel that overwhelm start to come, if I can shift that into my body's saying, Christy, pause for a minute here. You're about to explode. And it's giving me a signal that I'm overloaded. This isn't me being broken. This is me reacting to too much. I'm not the only one who feels this way, and I can take a breath. I would also add that it's an opportunity as I go through this with my loved ones to model this experience. For better or for worse, I'm sure my kids are going to look back at with fondness, but when I'm about to react, I will say these things out loud. I'm feeling overwhelmed right now and I'm feeling overloaded, like I'm going to react. And I talk myself through it for those around me. And that reframe that I'm modeling can help shift us out of that shame and into self-awareness. It doesn't stop stress from happening. Could be we're teaching my youngest son how to drive. That's a stress point. But it's into that awareness that this is a stressful thing and I'm not judging myself for it. And it doesn't stop the new driver from learning to drive, but it changes how I move through it. We can also use reframing after the peak, like, uh-oh, we lost it. Okay, we didn't stop it beforehand. This happens to us all. You're all at home or wherever you're zooming in from. We know it happens. Everyone has a moment because we're human beings. But we can use the reframing after the peak when we're in that depletion zone. And that's when we often beat ourselves up. So that was a hard moment. I'm allowed to have hard moments, shifting maybe some negative self-talk into a more supportive self-talk so you can move out of depletion. what do I need now to come back to center? Instead of focusing on the reaction, focusing on what is the solution to get me back to center. It doesn't mean that the stress didn't happen. It doesn't mean that the reaction didn't happen, but you're a human and I'm a human, and that's a part of where we're at in this transition, even more so at times. And it doesn't mean denying what's hard. It means telling ourselves a story that includes compassion, context, and the possibility of change and recovery. It gives us agency right in the middle of what might otherwise feel very hormonal, a storm. My best friend and I call it crazy living back here. So I just want to name, we're coming to our close together. Um, I hope that you carry this with you, that you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be present with yourself, with your truth, with the possibility of seeing things differently sometimes. Even in the messiest of moments, you have the ability to pause, to reframe, and choose compassion over criticism. And I want to lean into that deeply with yourself. If you can lean into compassion over criticism with yourself, you can really be that whole person that you are, and move through the hard times. And that's really what resilience is, and it's already in you. So, couple of pieces. If you want more information on what we do at Dovetail Learning, we have our book that we launched last year, The Heart of Resilience. People call it Chicken Soup for the Soul. Meets 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's a good comparison. We also have a digital companion book that's really great for book clubs. You can get free chapters of it on our website. I can send some links around if people are interested in trying it out. And thank you for being here. You can download our open education resources. I'll send some links around. We also have videos on our YouTube with various other webinars that we've done. Please sign up for our newsletter if you like our heartfelt stories. Every newsletter really starts with that. That's what it's about, is our work in action. And we have a new advice column. It's over at Substack. I will send it around in the follow-up email. It's one of my biggest joys that I get to do. And go ahead and check us out at dovetaillearning.org, or please email me, Christy at Dovetail Learning, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Don't see anything over in the Q&A, but if anyone has questions, I'm happy to stay on. If not, I hope that you have a great rest of your afternoon.